Hey everybody, Justin from FrugalSnobs.com. What is up, YouTube? I brought Christina with me. Say hello.
Hello.
Brought another currency review video for everyone. Check out all of the reviews here on the channel. It helps us out. And also check out playlists as well. Before we get into it, if you like what you see, what you hear, check out the Frugal Snobs podcast. Everything you need to know about the podcast is at FrugalSnobs.com. While you're here on the channel, subscribe. It does help us out, and comment. We'll be sure to get back to you once we're able to take a look at our comments, and we're pretty good at responding pretty quickly. So let's get into it, Christina. This is a 20-pound banknote, but it's a special banknote. Now, this is one of Christina's notes, so I'll let her handle the majority of the review. I'll just be here asking questions and quarterbacking here. But this is a Series D,
Yes.
20-pound banknote from the Bank of England, issued starting in 1970, I believe,
Yes.
through 19 what?
93.
Excellent. And this is a pictorial series note. Is that correct?
Yes.
So also the Isaac Newton 1 pound note, folks, is part of the same series. So check out that review if you get a chance. So Christina and I were talking about this. This series, the Series D series, I believe you had said features pictorial scenes for notable people.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. On one side of the note.
Gotcha. That would probably be, in this case, on the back side of the note.
Yes.
So we'll get here shortly. Christina, do you want to talk about the watermark on this note, then also the actual front side of the note, color scheme, etc.?
Yes. Just in general, with the banknote itself, it's 6 inches. Shall I say 6 inches and 5/16 of an inch by 3 9/16 of an inch in size.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's a fairly larger note, larger than standard United States banknote.
Really?
Yes, at least in height.
Gotcha, but not in width.
Yes.
Understood. And also, folks, before Christina goes any further, we've reviewed other 1 pound notes and other pound notes, which are of different size, but are still legal tender.
Yes.
At the time of issue, I should say, in the United Kingdom. So just keep that in mind. So there are pound notes and other banknotes that are of different size, but still legal tender.
Yes.
Sorry, not to this day, but at the time of issue. Sorry, go ahead.
I say this banknote is more in line as far as size, like the B series Britania note that we did a review for.
Yes, it is a 5 pound note.
Yes.
Excellent. Check out that note as well, folks. It's very colorful, as I recall. It's here on the channel.
Yes, it's the only one of the B series.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug. And yes, you're right. It is the only bill, that 5 pound note in the series, and it's very colorful.
Yes.
Very colorful. All right, so front side of the note. Let's go ahead and go through kind of the color scheming and what's going on the front side of this note.
I'm going from right to left with this just to describe everything in respect to how it was laid out.
Gotcha.
I would say for the first 40% on the right-hand side, you have a portrait of Queen Elizabeth.
The second.
Yes, and she is wearing the squared crown.
She's the younger queen.
Yes.
Younger queen in the square crown. You also see Elizabeth II depicted with the rounded crown as well, folks. But again, that's a different discussion for a different time.
Different series.
Different series, that's right. So in this case, square crown.
Yes, and she is dominantly like a grayscale, but in purple. So it's like a purple scale portrait of her.
Understood. And then moving to the left.
Yes, then you have St. George slaying the dragon. And that is a white, blue, gold, greenish color scale.
A multicolored depiction, probably
Yes.
also a counterfeiting measure as well, based on matching color, matching ornateness, I presume.
Yes.
And then moving furthest to the left, the other portions of
Yes,
the left.
slightly. It's a little bit to the left, a little bit lower. You have a circled image of Britania with her shield, scepter, holding wheat as she's in the seated position.
Understood.
And then the cool part, as we get to now, as you hold it to the sun or put light through it, you actually see the first attempt at watermarking that they used.
Different image of the queen, right?
Yes, she's looking down, away.
Translucent, opaque.
Yes.
Interesting.
And as you also hold the bill to the light, you actually see a strip through the bill between St. George and the actual portrait of Elizabeth on the right.
So there looks to be a striping mechanism in the
Yes, it's a dark stripe through it.
Did not know that. And I think the 1921 pound note that you have, Christina, featuring George V also has some watermarking in it, but not the same translucent
Exactly.
style watermarking. So I want to point that out. Check out that review as well. It's here on the channel. I'm sorry. I'm shameless plugging everything.
We got a lot of videos like people can learn from.
Yes. So that is the front side there. Is there anything else you want to say about the front side?
No, I mean, it was, as you mentioned, it was issued between 1970 and 1993.
Well, I mentioned 1970.
Yes.
You finished it with 1993.
And it was, the chief cashier was Paige at the time.
Gotcha. And by the way, folks, before we go any further to the back side of the note, which we'll get to here in a second, Christina is pointing out a good fact here. Many times, a lot of bills are not just banknotes are not necessarily basing their value on the note itself or the design, but also who the signatures were.
And that can play a major difference with how much the bill is worth.
For example, if you look at the 1937 series from Canada featuring George VI,
Yes.
many of those bills were signed by a number of different folks: Coin and Towers, Gordon Towers, Osborne and Towers, etc. So she's right. These notes, the value is often influenced by the signatories, even though the designs are the same, or similar, I should say. So, do you want to flip to the back side of the note?
Yes.
So, this is why we're here, folks. Notable people.
The cool part of the bill. We have this is an actual statue in England, from what I found out from one of my former co-workers, of William Shakespeare.
Nice.
And the heads are actually characters from his plays.
Gotcha.
And then William Shakespeare
William Shatner. Nice. Nice.
was lived from 1564 to 1616.
Understood. And Romeo and Juliet are also portrayed.
Yeah, I was just about ready to get to that.
Sorry, I'm still thinking about William Shatner.
But basically, this actually shows the famous balcony scene.
Gotcha.
Within the play.
Want to reiterate, folks, William Shakespeare, not Shatner. But still, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to put him on a note. Hey, in Canada, they did Star Trek-oriented coins,
I know they did.
So
you could actually get the little communicator button on a coin.
Oh, jeez.
But getting back to the note.
Yes, that's why we're here.
In the upper left-hand corner, they have the pound symbol with 20. Mm-hmm. In the upper right corner, it says 20 and then pounds. Mm-hmm. And then in the lower left corner, it actually spells out 20 and pounds.
Excellent. Now, I just want to ask a question. Obviously, your eyesight is better with this note than mine, since we are reviewing it and it's near you. You don't see any mention of pound sterling on this note, do you? Or only pound?
It's only pound. Okay. I do not see sterling on this note.
Interesting, because some of the pound notes or some of the other British banknotes we've reviewed actually state pound sterling. So just wanted to point that out for everyone as well. There's other reviews on the channel. Check them out. I'm plugging everything here, but I just wanted to see if it does mention pound sterling or just pound.
From what I've seen with just the British banknotes in general, they typically say pound. But if it's outside the England, you'll see the pound sterling.
Right, outside the England? Outside of England?
Yes.
Out of the England?
The English banknotes.
Gotcha. So basically anything from Scotland, Northern Ireland.
Yes, it'll actually say sterling.
That's interesting. We should probably do a follow-up video and discuss that as to why that might be. Kind of like almost like we're printing this banknote as legal tender in England by the Bank of England versus a client bank that is printing banknotes for use.
Yes.
By and in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
That'd be interesting. We should probably look at that. Anything else on the back side of this note?
It's kind of on both sides of the note from what I'm looking at here. Whenever you look at Britania on the front of the note, if you look at it on the reverse side at an angle, you can actually see that it was the seal around her was embossed.
So it's pressed.
You see an imprint.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
So they actually pressed that into the banknote.
Money is so much more ornate.
Yes.
Today it's just mass-produced. But that's a different time, different discussion, a different rant from me. I think I've talked about it many times on the podcast and the review that money was just so much prettier.
Unfortunately, back then.
Yes, back then.
We can't really enjoy it now.
But it also meant more back then.
Exactly.
So we're going to wrap this up?
Yes.
All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed this review of the Shakespeare 20-pound banknote from the Bank of England. Hope everybody also enjoys all the other videos here on the channel. Also, we've introduced playlists, so we hope that makes your viewing experience a bit easier and a bit more enjoyable. As always, check out the Frugal Snobs podcast. As I said, everything you need to know is at frugalsnobs.com. Be well, never pay retail. Take care of yourself and each other, and be sure to subscribe.